Good evening, everybody. It is Charlie, and welcome back to the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. It is time for the last say on Luton Town 1, Leeds United 1. Leeds United getting another draw, disappointingly, on the road. Not a very good situation at the minute, is it? I'm not going to sugarcoat things tonight, guys. Hopefully we can have a bit of a therapy session together, so to speak, and just hash it all out. Just before we get into it, please make sure that you are smashing that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. Hit the notification bell, and please make sure that you are getting all of your thoughts and opinions into the comment section down below. I was due to be joined by Paul from the Leeds Therapy. Unfortunately, he has sent me a message just saying that he's having technical issues at the minute, which isn't enabling him to get on. So if he does manage to sort that out, hopefully we'll be hearing from Paul soon. But for now, it is just going to be me. So yeah, like I say, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat things at the minute. It is not a very good situation to be in at the minute as a Leeds United fan, is it? It's very bleak. 1 win in 6 is not automatic promotion form. Let's just be real about it. Obviously, we'll get into the fact that, Sheffield United lost and Burnley won a little bit later on in the video. But, yeah, I mean, to a degree, I'm not really concerned about them right now. I'm just concerned about us and the fact that we're struggling to beat teams like Luton Town and Swansea City and QPR and Portsmouth. This is just not, it's not good enough at all. And I'll be honest, I said it on the match review last night, which if you haven't already, go and check that out. That it's the first time this season where I genuinely don't believe we will get promoted at all. And it feels weird to actually vocalize it and actually say that out loud, because I feel like I've put it out there into the open now. But it is genuinely how I'm feeling. I just feel numb to it all. It just feels like, we've seen this movie before. We know how it's going to end. The players just, we'll get into the specifics shortly, but the players just, they look burnt out, if I'm being honest with you. But again, we'll get into some specifics shortly. Wilf's in the building. We are lucky. It is still in our own hands, even though we are third. Yeah, exactly. Very lucky, mate. Very lucky. And David saying, and not another game Tuesday for them to put. Yeah, there's. Yeah, I guess so, mate. I guess so. But we'll come on to the Borough game towards the end, guys, to finish everything off tonight. But for now, I want to start on the lineup. We knew, obviously, Carl Darlow was going to come in to replace Ilan Meslier, so that wasn't a surprise. It wouldn't have surprised me if he'd have kept Brendan Aronson in all fairness, but he did make that change. He dropped Brendan Aronson to the bench and started Willie Gnonto, which is something that we've all wanted for a while now. The other change that I would have made, which again will definitely be coming onto this because it's a real bugbear of mine at the minute, is that he didn't play Laji Ramazani over Manor Solomon. It just absolutely baffled me, obviously. Joe Rothwell was not part of the squad due to a calf injury, which is going to keep him out for the next 4 games, which isn't ideal. And Matteo Joseph was ill, so he wasn't part of the matchday squad. But we did see Pat Bamford come back into the squad, and he did come on, didn't he? Did old Paddy. And, there's a bit of discourse going on at the minute about the fact that he should be starting. It's 2025 and people are suggesting Pat Bamford to lead the line to get us promoted. It's just absolutely ludicrous, if I'm being honest with you. But hey-ho, everyone has a different opinion, don't they? Let's be honest. So the first half, I thought was very 50-50. I thought it was very, very 50-50. He's managed to join us. We've got him. He's here.
I hate technology with a passion, mate. I've got to be honest. Apparently, my webcam was plugged into the wrong thing, which, because it kept going, it's connected to something else. So I'm sat there going, right, let's open up settings, look at this, look at that, look at the other bits and pieces and see what I couldn't work out what it were connected to. Sorry, yes, I'm here. Apologies.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. I'm happy that you are able to join us. As you may have heard a little bit there, Paul, I was just going through like the lineup and the first half in general, but I just thought I'd get your thoughts on the lineup as well, mate. I mean, obviously, Carl Darlow, everybody knew that was going to happen, so that wasn't a surprise. But I'll be honest, I'm kind of surprised to see him make the Nonto change, really. I thought he would still be stubborn and keep Brendan Aronson in there. I think Laji Ramazani should have definitely come in, which we'll come on to in more detail in a bit. But just your thoughts, mate, as soon as you saw the lineup.
Obviously, like you said, Darlow, we knew. I kind of had a feeling that he was going to do the thing and put Nonto in because sort of like 48 hours into the lead up to the game, there was kind of a big push on Nonto kind of interviews and pictures and stuff that was coming out of the team. So I kind of thought, oh, well, that kind of looks to me like that's what's going to happen. That's there and ready to go ahead potentially. But was I surprised? Yeah, I was. To be honest with you, I didn't think that would happen. But overall, I thought the team was good enough. I think he probably would have preferred, had Rothwell not been injured, I think it would have been Ampadu and Rothwell. But obviously Rothwell was injured. Joseph was poorly. Seeing Bamford in there was weird. But just overall, I was happy with the team selection. We all wanted that. That's what we wanted to see. But yeah, it didn't quite turn out how we wanted it to. So
no, and I actually tweeted out when the lineup was announced actually that there was no excuses now because he's I'm not saying he's bowing down to the fans. I think that's the wrong way to put it, but you know, it is what the fans have wanted for a while. And for me, there was no room for error in picking that team. As you've said, I thought it was definitely strong enough to get the job done. Obviously, we didn't, which we'll come on to. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I was just getting into the first half, mate. I personally thought it was 50-50. I thought they started off better. Obviously, they took the lead through a very poor goal from our side. I thought Junior Firpo should do a lot better. On that.
I think here's my thing for that first goal.
Go on.
Solomon did not track his man back at all.
Which he left
Firpo. He left Firpo with two guys. Firpo with two guys on his side. So yeah, Firpo, he looked behind him as well. Should have done better, but you can't even blame Darlow for that either. So it's a nuisance, but it is.
Yeah, it was just one of them, wasn't it? As I say, I think they started off better, 100%. But I thought after we equalised, I thought we did end the half a lot better, which kind of gave me a bit of encouragement going into the second half. I thought, we're in the ascendancy now. Hopefully, we'll show our quality. But I don't know about you, mate, but that second half was nothing short of embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm usually, for away games, when I watch it, obviously on the TV, I'm always on the edge of my sofa. I'm getting heated. I'm getting into it. That second half, I was just laid back. I was having a look at Twitter. It was just boring to watch, wasn't it? It was just such a good ending to the half, things to improve on and go from, and then that just happened. So yeah, just talk me through it, mate. I'm baffled.
Well, for me, the first half, here's what I'll say: we didn't play to our strengths at all enough, as far as I'm concerned. We have skillful players that can play quick, incisive passing and do very, very well. Now, Nonto was completely anonymous for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And the issue that you've got there is playing both Tanaka and Ampadu in the positions that they were being played in. And again, my humble opinion, and in my humble opinion, this is this is the issue that you had the gap between midfield and Nonto was a little bit too big at times, and we never had full control over the midfield. So Nonto couldn't get back in. Nonto couldn't really get into the game enough. But then when you look at the way that they play three. Let me get this right. It's almost 3-5-2. 3-5-1-2. They kind of play. So essentially, they've got 7 people in midfield at any given moment in time. So the midfield is just absolutely packed out. Then you've got players that didn't perform well enough, who should be performing at a higher level. And Solomon, for me, hasn't performed well enough for the last few games, and I think that was shown today. He put in a good cross. He had a good shot, but it's by the by. He didn't. I don't think he had a good enough performance today. Ampadu was chucking himself around, all right, getting himself into tackles. Tanaka has now had 2 poor games in a row, I think, to his standards. Darlow, I was absolutely fine with. Can't blame him for the first goal. I thought he commanded his area well. I thought he came for balls really, really well.
Did the basics.
Absolutely. Did the basics exactly how you want him to do it, and just played it how you want him to play it. But just, it was difficult for Pirro because obviously the gap between midfield and Nonto, that then makes it difficult for Pirro to get involved. You've got to also as well try and play against their physicality. And what we weren't doing is we weren't trying to draw them onto us enough to then allow gaps in behind for our 2 fast players to get onto the ball enough. Dan James, fantastic goal. Rest of the game. Lovely goal. Rest of the game, crap. For me, that's the game. That's just an honest opinion. And I said in my review yesterday that the lack of fight by Ampadu in that team yesterday was shockingly bad. And up until Sheffield United lost at Oxford, which boggles my head, by the way. But they haven't been playing very well and they got caught out. But what we did is we allowed ourselves to play to their strengths in terms of trying to play the physical game, which we aren't going to match up against. But like I said, up until Oxford beating Sheffield United, I thought that was it. We're not getting back out of third now, and that's us completely done. I'm 70-30 now, I think, but that's the faith of that's the hope and faith that kills you. But I still can't work out Farke's substitutions. I can't. My head doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I've actually made a note of it, of something that I wanted to discuss because it completely blew my mind. But yeah, I think everything that you've said there is more than fair. I thought we kind of got dragged down to their level in getting involved in the physical aspects of the game. I just don't think it's our style at all. The constant long ball and being so direct, again, that doesn't suit us at all. I was just thinking, can we just get the ball on the ground and just play football? Because it was just one end to the other. And I was thinking, am I watching tennis here or football? Like, it was just so frustrating to watch. And as you say, I think Ampadu was probably the only one that showed a bit of fight. They just looked so dejected from it all. It was really bizarre. But yeah, I mean, let's just get into a few comments here. Dav saying anyone else wondering if Farke wants us to go up? I'm sure he does. I mean, the decisions he's making at the minute maybe don't suggest that. But I'm sure he does deep down. He's a promotion specialist, apparently. Even if we get promoted, he has to go. Best manager since Bielsa, but we are turning into Norwich. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a bit of a debate that's going on in the Leeds United sphere, so to speak. At the minute.
Yeah, they're not going to get rid of him.
Absolutely not.
They won't get rid of him until the end of the season. My honest opinion, I don't think he's capable. Should we, and I'm touching every bit of wood that I've got in whatever, should we get to the Premier League, I don't think he's the right man for the job.
Yeah, I agree.
And I've started to see that a little bit more. If you ask Norwich fans, he definitely has his favourites. and he will always play them regardless.
That's clear and
all of the
evident at the
time.
minute.
Yeah, 100%. Is that a bad thing? It's not when they're performing, but when the team isn't performing, you need to have a proper plan B. And I'm sorry, but bringing Schmidt on at left wing, he did okay, but bringing Schmidt on at left wing is not going to win you the game. It just isn't. It's not. It's just not going to win you the game.
And as much as we all wanted Nonto to come into the team, as I was watching it, I was just thinking, this is not a game where Nonto is going to thrive, because it's in the air constantly. It's all mashed up in the midfield. They're trying to get, overloaders with bodies in that midfield as well, which they were doing well, I thought.
Yeah.
And as you say, the midfield was just not on it with Vampadu and Tanaka. As you've said, Tanaka I didn't think was at the heights that we've, he's been at previously over the last two games. And again, it's all hindsight, but it probably wasn't the best game for Nonto to come into. No. But we'll get into the subs now because it kind of feeds into Nonto. Bear in mind, we've already touched upon that it was a physical game. The players getting shoved off of the ball left, right, and centre. Oh, wait, I've got an idea. I'll throw Brendan Aronson on. A player who is about 3 stone wet through, gets shoved off the ball at the slightest touch, and you think he's going to come on and affect a game like that. Again, that blew my mind. Isaac Schmidt has played about 20 minutes all season, and yet he throws him into a game of such high importance, which, again, I'm not blaming Schmidt, but he's clearly rusty in terms of playing on a regular basis, and you could see that yesterday.
Yeah.
Obviously, Verba came on because of Strauch, which is fine. I understand that one. Pat Bamford, and there's people suggesting Pat Bamford should be starting, and it's 2025.
It is. I will say this though.
He did do all right. He did do all right.
He did do all right, but you see, the difference is that's the difference between Bamford and Pirro in terms of the way that they play. You can stick a ball up to Bamford, and technically speaking, he should be able to hold it up better. Pirro is no, he's not. He's an into-feet player. That's how he plays. That's why he's not really a proper 9. He's more of a false 9.
He wants the ball to feet, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course he does. Yes, yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. God, we're relying on Patrick. Listen, don't be surprised if he plays Pat Bamford to start with against Middlesbrough.
You know what? At this rate, I don't think anything could surprise me. I don't think he will. I really don't think he will. I think, but the one player, Largy Ramazani, not even getting a minute on the pitch yesterday. Again, absolutely blagged my head. I do not understand it. This guy was scoring goals at the Bernabeu last season.
Yeah.
But yet he's not good enough to play Luton Town away. I just find it ridiculous. And the reasoning for it, he isn't good in duels. He isn't a defender. And I mean, do you get where he's coming from there? Because I don't personally.
Everybody forgets that Ramazani was the main guy.
He was meant
left
to be.
Wing. Well, he was once when Solomon injured his back and he came in and he was playing in Solomon's position and he was doing really, really well. Yeah. I think what this clearly shows to me is that there is maybe an attitude problem. And that's not me having a go at him, because some players are just born with attitude. You only need to look at Somerville. Somerville was all me, and that's what he was about.
Yeah.
Farke has alluded to the he's not good in the challenge kind of thing, but he also alluded to he needs to show more in training. Now, we don't know what goes on in training, the same way we haven't seen with Schmidt and stuff, so we don't know what goes on in training. But the thing that I'm getting annoyed at is Farke wouldn't come out and say anything against Meslier, yet he's thrown Tanaka under the bus quite publicly, and he's now done the same to Ramazani very publicly, which it just kind of seems.
Sorry, mate, but this just adds to the point about favourites, doesn't it? Like, Meslier is clearly a favourite of his for one reason or another. And again, I actually agreed with what he said about Tanaka in that Swansea game. He shouldn't have played that ball out for the.
No, he shouldn't. No.
But at the same time, if he's coming out saying that that he didn't want to discuss that goal, but yet he brings up the Tanaka situation, and then, as you say, hasn't really publicly not slagged off Melia, but kind of called him out for his errors, but yet he'll happily speak about others. And I just think his man management is a bit strange in how he deals with certain players, isn't it?
I think so, and the thing that's weird about that more than anything is that he actually showed what a good man manager he was at the start of his tenure in the way that he dealt with Willie Gnonto, and the way that he dealt with other certain situations as well, like obviously Sinisterra and people like that. Well, if you're not here to play for Leeds, then you're not training with the first team squad. You can go and train with the kids. You can go and train with somebody else. So I kind of felt like he was okay. But for me, I think it's very, 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 very much a case of the stress is getting to everybody. I think it's getting to Farke now because he knows what's riding on it. He knows that there's stuff that he needs to be doing, and that we have essentially thrown away a 7-point gap to third, to now it's us in third with a 1-point gap. So it's kind of like I just think everybody just needs to go and have a hug or something. I can't work it out, but it just go
on. What do you make to his comments post-match saying, first of all, that it was a good point on the road, and secondly, he is still reiterating that we will 100% be playing in the Premier League next season after that?
Number one, don't poke the bear that is the Leeds United fan base, because that is just ridiculous to say. Listen, in the grand scheme of things, these 3 points that we've picked up in the last 3 games could turn out to be very, very important. We don't know that. Saying it at the time is not the right way of going about it.
No, not at all.
But stop saying the thing. Stop saying that we're 100% going to be playing in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's really annoying me at the minute. Really annoying me.
One thing to have faith in your team, but it's going to come back to it's Leeds. It's going to come back to smack us in the face.
If we don't go up, even if it's playoffs, automatic, whatever, if we don't go up, that comment is just going to be, it'll just become a meme. It is going to become a meme, and and surely he realizes this. He's a smart guy. I'm not saying he's on social media, but he must be aware that fans of other clubs are going to clip that up and they'll be playing it at the end of the season if we don't go up. And every time he says it, I just cringe to myself. I think it's not the time. It is really not the time. If he'd have said that after Sheffield United, I think we'd have all got on the bandwagon with it, probably. But after, I was saying to a friend of mine actually earlier that it's not really it is the results, obviously, but it's more the manner of the performances that it's just baffling to go from Sheffield United, which we weren't great for the entirety of that, but we get
there was a never say die attitude in that game.
Exactly,
like makes it different.
They fought for it. They had desire. They worked together as a team. They looked together, didn't they, as a unit?
Yeah.
Even the West Brom point, you can go, all right, that's not a bad point against West Brom. But, since then, it's like Portsmouth, QPR, Swansea. Do you think if we'd have beaten Swansea last season, that the point yesterday would have been a bit better? Or do you still think it's not good enough, even if we get that one done?
Had we beaten Swansea and we got a point, it wouldn't be as bad as what we feel, because
it'd have been an okay week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd been an okay week. We'd be 2 points better off than what we are. So effectively, we'd still be top. We'd be top.
Goal difference.
So, but that's the thing in terms of the margins and everything. And I had a proper meltdown yesterday. I was done
mate.
yesterday. Yeah. I think everybody was, and it was. I made my video. I probably made the mistake of making the video immediately after the game, because I was being very reactionary. But I wanted to get the emotion side of it out of me and just say what I wanted to say. I mean, I've been getting absolutely crucified on TikTok, and then on just on the shorts and stuff that I do, just Leeds are falling apart again. Who have I been getting abuse from? A Bradford City fan gave me abuse today. And it's just like,
From what I see, they've kind of turned things around in League Two, but yeah.
Yeah, they're doing not. Yeah, but League Two.
Yeah, League Two, yeah.
League Two. But yeah, it's listen, we all set ourselves up for falls.
Everybody jumps on the bandwagon when it's Leeds.
Yeah, of course
Everybody does.
They do. Of course they do. But Middlesbrough game will be.
It's a weird form of grooming. It's a weird form of grooming.
I don't like it. It's strange because the Middlesbrough game is going to tell us everything that we need to know. If we go on and beat Middlesbrough, then it's not that everything's hunky-dory. It means that, Sheffield United and Burnley still have to play each other. So we have to wait and see how that one pans out first. But we need to be winning every single game that we can that's put in front of us. They need to be fighting for it. And I mean, I saw what Perot put on Instagram earlier on today. He put a 3-story photograph montage up, and he was just saying 3 more points to go. Yeah, this, that, and just banging the drum. And he's the only player that I've seen that's come out with that kind of attitude. And whilst he might not seem it all of the time, because it seems like he's stoned out of his brain half of his life, but he does seem to genuinely care, and he does seem to genuinely want to do it. And I'm not trying to say that. Listen, I've just sat and watched a Manchester derby.
I watched a bit of it. Turned it off.
That was the most turgid, unaggressive thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I would never accuse the players of downing tools. I just think that the game plan from Farke was wrong on Saturday.
They look burnt out at the minute.
Yeah, no, they do, and I think.
But that's down to his rotation, I think, personally.
Yeah, and the fact that we've got a tiny squad, which then leads you into shit. Should we have done something in January?
Yeah,
I will still maintain that regardless of the size of the squad that we've got, we have got the best squad in the league. However, some of them are shattered at the moment, and that rotation needs to happen, and it doesn't.
It's all right having the best squad in the league, which I do completely agree with you on that, but that's why it's more baffling that he's not using it. And I think someone said in the comments earlier about maybe putting Nonto out wide left on Tuesday, and someone else in the 10, was it Brendan? I think the team selection will be very telling on Tuesday night as well, because if he goes again with Solomon on the left, and he had a nightmare yesterday, did Solomon? And again, he's a good player, and he's shown that he's a good player for us, and so is Dan James. I would personally keep Dan James in just for what he gives you with pace alone, just in behind. But Solomon, I mean, that chance that he missed just summed his afternoon up. And we need to be seeing Ramazani. Even if it's not from the start, he needs to be coming on with a good 20, 30 minutes left to really try and impact the game, because Borough are going to come out to play, and they're going to come and try and push the pace, especially being at home. Weirdly, I do think that will suit us.
Agreed.
And it'll be a completely different spectacle to what the Luton game was, because the pundits were trying to praise them, but let's be honest, Luton didn't come to play football. They came to frustrate us and just get out of there unscathed, which they did, and that's fair play. But I think Borough, they're fighting for playoffs. They're at home. They obviously hate Leeds, obviously. And as I said, they will come to try and push the pace. But again, that has suited us in the past, and I do think it will again, mate.
I think so. No, I agree with you on that. I mean, I go back to the game that we played against Borough at home, and the way that we played that game, and the way that we, yes, Borough equalised, but it was an own goal. But it was the way that it was two teams wanting to play football, and on the basis of two teams wanting to play football, we should come out on top. We should always come out on top if it's two teams playing football. Yeah. What I've been trying to work out how this might go, but I think Aronson will come back in on Tuesday, but I think he'll put Nonto on the left.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. As annoying as it is for me, I just can't see him putting Largy in from the start. I just can't.
No, and the one thing, and I know Brendan Aronson isn't everybody's favourite. He's not everybody's cup of tea. You mentioned it yourself. He can get knocked off the ball easily.
Yeah.
The problem is not the problem. The good thing that Aronson does is he's an absolute pain in the arse to people around him. He's just running constantly, which is fine. If his brain could work as quick as what his feet work, he'd be absolutely unreal as a player.
He gets in his own head, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. He sometimes takes too long to think about stuff. But again, he's nearly in double-digit goals for this season, and he's in terms of, I think he's one of the biggest assist creators in the league this season as well. As frustrating as he is,
I know, yeah.
That's why I think and also as well from a defensive point of view, I think Farke trusts him a little bit more, but
he likes his pressing as well, doesn't he? Because he just
and I depending on how Stroke is as well, because obviously he went off injured on.
I can't see him playing on Tuesday.
I don't think he will, and I don't think Farke's going to risk him.
No,
in that.
I wouldn't if I was him, to be honest.
No, so it'll be Ampadu will go in at the back, and I think what we'll have is we'll probably have Tanaka and Gruev in the midfield, which I kind of understand in terms of just that protection, which is what he likes. But it's
Rothwell's out for 4 games now, apparently, as well.
Yeah, he's got a calf strain on it, so I mean,
it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but we are where we are. So it's just we've got to. It's tough because it just feels like it's just typical Leeds, and it's this time of year again. We're imploding. Difference is that we're drawing, so that's maybe a bonus, but it
feels like defeats though, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, of course it does. I mean, Swansea, Swansea, we shouldn't have lost that game.
Oh, it was awful.
1,000,000% we shouldn't have lost that game. Then this game against Luton, their home form is, I think it's 50-50 in terms of games they've played. One loss. It's very much 50-50. They only got a +1 goal difference, but we massively played into their strengths in that game. Their biggest strengths are aerial duels. They will always win aerial duels because I think every single one of their players is like 8 foot tall, from what I could see in the game. We kept doing the same thing, and every time the ball came to us and we got it on the ground, we seemed to panic a lot.
Yeah,
before making the decision to make the pass, just that nervous energy to go with it.
Yeah,
but I was down and out until the Sheffield United Oxford thing, and then it's reeled me back in.
It was the first time that I'd sort of vocalised the fact that I didn't think we would get promoted. Then, as you say, if I'd have maybe waited till after the Oxford Sheffield United game, I might have had a different perspective on it. Because it does. I'm not saying it makes the result good, because it doesn't, but it made it feel a little bit more bearable for me. I was a bit like, right, okay, somehow it's still in our hands.
Yeah.
It was definitely Burnley's day yesterday, 100%. They'll be over the moon. Obviously, Jadon Anthony scoring both goals, which again, a player that was massively underused for Leeds last season. We've got Connor Roberts in there that was on loan and was barely used. We had a midfielder playing right back, but anyway, that's all in the past. But I mean, just off topic slightly, did you see the winning goal that Burnley scored?
No, don't, because that just makes me want to punch Fat Frank between the.
It's just atrocious from Coventry.
It's terrible,
and it makes it even more
annoying
and frustrating, doesn't it? But we've touched about Sheffield United, so if we have a look at the grand scheme of things now, obviously Sheffield United lost, Burnley won. So as we said, somehow it's still in our hands. I don't know how, but it is. Do you think it's going to affect Sheffield United? Obviously, they've got a home game to kind of bounce back into against Millwall on Tuesday night. Can you see them starting to wobble, or do you think that was just a freak result?
They have it in them to do it. I mean, they lost 3-0 at home to Hull, didn't they?
They did.
Millwall are a tough outfit in terms of physicality. They're strong in terms of the way that they play. Sheffield United, I think even the most ardent Sheffield United supporter would say that they haven't been playing brilliantly
The
over the last
Coventry game was the best I've seen them play this season.
Yeah, they haven't been playing massively brilliantly over the last kind of few games, and they've gotten away with it. I think is a little bit what I would term it as is being able to play bad but still win a game, which is something that we've not been able to do, which is why we are where we are at this moment in time. I can see. Oh God, I feel like Mystic Meg now. I can see. There's no way that Burnley win all of the remaining games, and there is no way that they can't, can they? Sheffield United can't win all of them.
They've got a tough game Tuesday, Burnley, Derby
away. Yeah, that's not the easiest of games to play. And if you think about it, the goal that gets them the winning goal was an absolute fart of a goal to concede by Coventry, but they didn't really do much else other than that, if you see what I mean. So I think the pressure's going to get to everybody. The Championship is going to championship. It's just we can't keep being given chances and not taking it. And that's kind of what we're doing a little bit at the moment. We're not taking these opportunities that are being put to us. And we have to start doing it. And it has to start on Tuesday night. It has to start on Tuesday night. Listen, we could all go to being absolutely magically happy on Tuesday night again, or just kind of going, right, let's get resigned to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I hate football and I love it in equal measure.
Yeah, I agree. So to finish on, we'll do some midweek predictions for all three games that concern us. So we'll save ours till last. So Sheffield United, Millwall, mate. How do you see that going?
Draw.
Okay. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then Derby, Burnley.
Burnley win. It's not an easy game, but I just think Burnley have just touching a bit of form at the moment.
I think they're looking the better of the three at the moment.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, so yeah.
I agree. Actually, I can see Millwall frustrating Sheffield United into getting a point. And even though on paper that Derby game does look difficult for Burnley, given Derby's home form being quite good, I think they'll just have too much for them. I think it'll be like a scrappy 1-0 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the one we've all been waiting for, Borough. I'll ask you for a score prediction.
1-0 us.
Oh, 1-0.
I think it's going to be stressful as hell. You look on their form. I'm just looking.
Either way, it'll be a horrible game to watch.
Oh yeah, it'll be terrible. They've won, draw. Well, in the last 5, they've lost 1, drawn 1, won. But they lost to Swansea 1-0. They beat QPR 2-1. They drew at Luton 0-0. They beat Oxford 2-1, and they beat Blackburn 2-0 from what I can see there. So it's in terms of form guide.
Blackburn on Friday as well. They were
good. in terms of the form guide, it's a horrible one. It is a really, really horrible one. It's I think they're quite high up in the form guide as it goes.
We're 15th in the form
table. We're 15th in the form table at the moment. Let's not talk about it. I think a 1-0 win for us.
Yeah, I think we'll just scrape it. Obviously, for everyone watching, I'll be doing my in-depth preview tomorrow for the game. But if I'm to say as I'm sat here now, I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay.
I think we'll concede in this. I do. But I think we'll... Again, I said this about the Luton game and it didn't happen, but I think it's the hope that kills you. But I would like to think we've got just a bit much for Borough in this game. And like you say, I think how they play, I think will suit us down to the ground. And hopefully our strengths will be able to be more on show in this game, mate. So, yeah. I think we've touched upon everything there. I think we've got everything off our chests. I hope everyone in the chat has as well. We've had some good numbers in the chat tonight. We've had about 50 people watching, which is good for a Sunday night. We do appreciate all the love and support. And obviously, a big thank you to Paul for joining me tonight as well. I just wanted to say as well, in case the boys are watching, I think both friends of ours in the YouTube space, Only Leeds Bros, are going through a tough time at the moment. So just sending our thoughts and prayers out to their friends and family at the minute. Obviously, I think they've lost their father, haven't they? So I hope you're doing all good, boys, if you're watching, and hope to see you back on a stream soon. On that note, we'll leave it there for tonight, guys. Please make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you in a bit. Cheers.